I'm going to get right to Chip Roy because he's on a tight schedule here. So let's go to Chip now. Hello, Chip. How are you?
Glenn, I'm doing great. Great to be on. Yeah, I'm on a tight schedule because we got to go fight to try to stop this thing. But happy to be on the show.
Yeah. So I really think that Speaker McCarthy has just given the nomination to Donald Trump for any of these weasels who were like, I don't want Donald Trump because he's an extremist. You just gave him the nomination, in my opinion. Not that Florida, Ron DeSantis is going to agree with this deal, but nobody's going to trust the Republicans after this. We gave you the benefit of the doubt, McCarthy, and this is what you return? It's what, $4 trillion or is it $6 trillion that they can raise the debt ceiling up to in the next couple of years?
Well, let's just take it piece by piece. I mean, look, you're right that this is, I think, a terrible quote unquote deal. And for your listeners out there who are smarter than the average listener, what we get is a date certain for a debt ceiling increase, January 1st, 2025. There is no actual dollar amount. So what that means is you essentially have an uncapped increase in the debt ceiling to a date certain. That date certain happens to fall in the middle of a lame duck Congress, by the way, right? Or a lame duck presidency if we're lucky. What do we get for that probably $4 trillion of additional debt or more, depending on what happens with it being uncapped and able to be potentially extended? We get, at best, in my opinion, if I'm being as generous as I can be to the people that negotiated this, is a 2-year freeze in spending. A 2-year freeze in spending, roughly. It might go up a little, might be down a little, but it's basically a freeze, truly. And that's only for 2 years of actual caps. And for that, you're going to see a slight bending of the post-COVID curve. Now, what does that mean? You'll see in the Wall Street Journal, and you see all these people out there saying, they're bending the curve. This is historic. They're flattening it. Yeah, we heard all that same crap during COVID, by the way. This is just taking the post-COVID spending and freezing it for a couple of years while we continue to feed the beast, the federal bureaucracy, and we do nothing to end the IRA, subsidized unreliable energy. We have minor work requirements. We basically increase the age for SNAP and TANF from 49 to 54 and call that a win while not touching Medicaid. We have no REINS Act pulling back the regulatory state. We get something called an administration pay-go to offset the cost of regulations, but they can waive it, which means it's nothing. We uphold the student loans and punt it to the courts to make the decisions about the $500 billion of picking winners and losers in student loans. The IRS stays expanded, minus basically $1.4 billion. You really can't make this up. And with all due respect to the leadership, they say it's historic. They miscalculated. They slipped into their old ways. I am going to meet with them today. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm trying to make it clear that I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that this wasn't sinister, that they just slipped into their old ways and they're like, well, we got to do a deal. Yeah, you can't do that. The no votes are mounting. And if you're a listener out there, make sure every one of your members of Congress know, get their voice. Your voices need to be heard. Vote no on this. We can still kill this and start over and do the right thing.
I mean, I'd take this if you had the REINS Act, but you got nothing. You got nothing. You have no reins, if you will, on this horse that is just being whipped to death in spending.
Correct. I mean, that is 100% correct. We got out of the deal that we did, Limit, Save, Grow, for a $1.5 trillion debt ceiling increase into early next year. We got a lot of really good things. Now, look, I'm not saying whether I think we could have gotten every single piece of that. I understand we've got to negotiate. I think that was the right starting place. But you tell me you're going to go jack this out 2 years to almost $4 trillion, and you're going to get literally not one actual full thing on the list of stuff we put in the Limit, Save, Grow Act. Not one thing. Everything was like some fractional piece of something on the list so they could say they did something, right? $1.4 billion off of the $80 billion of the IRS, and then say, see, we did something for the IRS. No. You left $78.6 billion of expanded IRS in place over 10 years, and you're trying to sell that to me as a victory. That's just not correct. This is old swamp thinking. This is a course correction.
Let's just cut the crap. Old swamp thing. Nothing is changing with the Republican Party because the leadership, they're all swamp monsters. They're all swamp monsters. And until those swamp monsters are put back out to pasture, you're not going to have anything change. You're not. You have a lot of good Republicans like you that have come up and they actually mean what they say and say what they mean. But until those swamp monsters are taken out and let them go to their nursing homes, nothing's going to change. I don't know why we should give them the benefit of the doubt that, we made a mistake. What? You had everything going for you. Everything. Now what's going to happen? The president made a deal. He compromised. Now the Republicans it's just these extremists holding hostage the Republican Party. It's the same thing over again.
Yeah, Glenn, look, I agree with every word of it. Just make sure I'm being very clear here. I personally think this was a complete and total sellout of everything that we accomplished in January, everything that we did in the first Limit, Save, and Grow Act, and everything we accomplished with H.R. 2.
You're right.
I think it is a betrayal of the power-sharing arrangement we put in place that would protect the Republican Party to make sure we could advance the ball forward. We are not blind to the fact that we have to figure out how to get 218 votes. We understand that's hard. We had a process that was working. That process was completely abandoned last week. The deal was cut, and that was a betrayal of the agreement that we had reached in order to create something that we thought would work. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm going to try to fix that today. If I cannot, in the Rules Committee, when I go fight this in the Rules Committee, if I can't kill it, if we can't kill it on the floor tomorrow, then we're going to have to then regroup and figure out the whole leadership arrangement again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got it. McCarthy, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't for him. I thought he was a swamp monster. And just last week, I'm like, you know what? I think I got to give him credit. He's playing this very well. Now, he's just betrayed me. Again, I give the benefit of the doubt to the Republican, and they just shiv me in the chest.
So I want to be as clear as I can be. This is not the end of this. This is the process that we started in January. We showed that you can govern conservatively and win. We did it. We were doing it. They abandoned it. Yep. It is our job now to course correct. Again, I've got not to quote Rumsfeld, an old Bushian, but you go to war with the army you got. Look, the bottom line is we were winning and we were demonstrating how to govern conservatively. So we're going to go do that today. We're going to have a press conference in 45 minutes. The 20 are strong. There are others that are with us. We are going to make our message be loud and clear. I'm going to make my message loud and clear in the Rules Committee, and then we will keep moving forward, trying to earn votes and try to build up where we need to head to do exactly what you just said. We got to make sure the American people are inspired. What I was trying to tell Republicans here is if we lose, and we lose the vote because we get rolled, make it be the Dems and the squishes in our conference that roll us.
Yes.
Don't go and roll and cut a deal and then go try to sell me that it's not, selling me out, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to snow me.
Always.
They're trying to snow the American people and say, "Oh, this is a great deal."
Always.
It is not. That chart that's going around that I've put out on my Twitter account and social media, where I make very clear the side-by-side comparison of where we were and where we ended up. And it's not even close.
No. I know you have to run. So what do you want the American people to do? Anybody who still, honestly, I don't know how many times you guys can say, call your congressman, because, really, we have.
Well, let me back up and just say, for 5 months, we actually were winning. H.R. 2 was, in fact, an historic position for Republicans to take on the border. The first Limit, Save, Grow Act, that was a pretty historic bill. So now they abandoned us. They failed. They cut a bad deal. It hasn't been passed yet. Just get involved over the next 48 hours. Make sure every Republican knows this is a bad deal. Make your voice heard loudly. Do it on social media. Do it to their offices. We're going to fight up here, and then we're going to regroup and figure out what the next step is to hold the line and make sure we're going to get our leadership arrangement such that it's reflecting conservative principles again. I promise we're going to keep fighting.
Okay.
The 20 aren't flinching, Glenn. We're just starting.
Good. Love to have you and anybody else in that 20 that would like to come in and talk tomorrow about the progress, because we have 48 hours. I'd love to have you back tomorrow, Chip, and just give us an update.
Okay.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Either I'll do it or someone else.
You got it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. That is the problem. We do have people in there that are really fighting hard. For the first time, I think we have 20 people that will stand. But it's all these mamby-pamby, wishy-washy. Look what the left has done to the country. Why? Because they will sell out every principle they have. They don't care who they stand with. And they're standing with Marxists. Well, I think we should give them some more money. I mean, I don't want to be an extremist. You're being an extremist. You're standing for the Constitution. What is wrong with the American people? When did the Constitution, the longest running Constitution in all of the history of man, the average Constitution lasts 17 years.